here we are. We're back again for some more God Hockey. And today I've got my pal Brad from True joining us. We're going to walk through some of the new additions to the line, and we're going to find a little bit about each. How are we doing today, Brad?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure is mine. The pleasure is mine. So obviously True Hockey, that's what we're talking today. First, maybe even let's just get a little bit of background on you. How'd you get started in the game, and how did we arrive in the spot that we are right now?
Well, I think like most people, I started playing, when I was about 5 years old, and just grew up. I grew up just outside of Toronto, just outside the GTA in Oakville. Grew up playing house league and couple years with the Oakville Rangers and high school hockey, and it took me through university, where I played junior C down in Niagara.
There you go.
Shout out Chippewa.
There you see. Everyone's got a junior C story.
Oh, exactly. Right. But, it was a good way to keep the freshman 15 off, which was
for sure,
which was great. And yeah, so I went to Brock, where uniquely in the industry, I didn't study anything remotely close to sporting goods. I actually I have a bachelor's degree in philosophy. So take that for what you will. But yeah, so I played hockey and through 3 years at Brock, and I worked retail before that. So through university and kind of prior to it in high school. And that's kind of what got me started in the industry too, which worked at National Sports as a bright-eyed, long-haired, shockingly, National Sports. I know, at the Great Migration. So I spent a couple of years there, and then I worked at a Source for Sports for a few years, about 8 years. And shout out to Corbett's. They put up with me for about seven or 8 years. And after that, I luckily found an opportunity at Bauer, where I spent 5 years and met some great people, learned a lot of great stuff. And
you even met me too.
Yeah. Well, I said great people. That's why
I was a tag on.
No, I did. Absolutely. Yeah. It gave me a lot of great exposure to the industry. And then then an opportunity came with True, where they were kind of revamping their sales structure, or their sales force. And, like any smart person with a 4-month-old baby, I decided to completely switch jobs, and, took a risk, and paid off fantastically.
Great. Well, so when you joined with True, that was, I don't want to say at the beginning, but in terms of True being the brand that we know it today, you were almost ground floor as those things were rolling, I guess.
I would feel guilty saying I'm on the ground floor, because so many of the guys but to a degree, yeah. Talking to like everybody that's in the company is just, there's guys that have been here for 10, 15 years in one iteration of the company. But yeah, like when I joined there, we've definitely taken a huge jump since then. Like, it was perfect timing for me. It was, we didn't have stock skates at the time. We didn't have a goalie department we had a goalie department, but with the goalie skates, and it was
That's
sticks really. But yeah, like I came in at a fantastic time, where we were really starting to ramp up and take off. And I'm not going to take any credit for where we are now, but I think it was just a good opportunity, right place, right time.
Yeah, exactly. So the one thing, obviously, with True Hockey, the one thing really have the most notoriety for, of course, is the custom skates. You see them throughout. You started seeing them, obviously, the acquisition of the VH brand, and then moving forward with that. Maybe we can walk through a little bit of the sort of the process of how we get from the scan to the build to the customer's foot, and just some of the core highlights of what makes the True custom skate sort of the experience that it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that was honestly my unbiased opinion. Well, it's very biased, but going through that process and spending my time at Bauer, again, they make great skates. They've made great skates in the past.
Absolutely.
So long. But as soon as I put my foot in a True skate, there was nothing like it. It was, and that's part of what comes with just kind of the background for people that don't know is True actually. So Scott Van Horn, Olympic speed skater. He was always a tinkerer with his skates, very kind of like you and I, he's a bit of a gear geek, if you will. He spent hours, you know, working on skates in his garage, and he built up this incredible following with hockey skates too, and out in Winnipeg. And originally it was MLX, and was purchased by Easton. At the time, you know, Mario Lemieux was wearing them, Sergei Gonchar, Dustin Byfuglien, and then MLX was purchased by Easton. Scott decided, him and a couple of the other guys that he was building, started MLX with, they decided to leave, waited out a non-compete, and then started creating VH in Scott's garage again. And then VH building figure skates, speed skates, hockey skates, all custom built in a very unique way, in a way that, you know, only really a speed skater would know how. They would build these carbon fiber skates, you know, using thermoplastics and a variety of different ways of customizing the skate before they actually put it on the foot. And then once you heat it up, it was, you know, game over. So True Temper, who's been around for 100 years.
Of course, they know a thing or two about composite technology as well.
Yeah, if you're golfing, you're likely using something True Temper. We're the number one golf shaft company in the world and have been for 100 years. True Temper came in and similar to what they've done now on the goalie side is they identify fantastic craftsmen, guys that know, people that know what they're doing, and just they purchase the company and just let them do what they do and infuse, you know, the True Temper side of the business. If it's carbon fibers, you know, access to different materials, processes, whatever it is. And then it allows those craftsmen to really take that next step. And so
so you've allowed, essentially, like you're saying, that like the best craftsmen at sort of hand making almost these incredible skates, but now you sort of give him the backing of a larger company, the resources, the access to, you know, just things he wouldn't normally be able to get as a small sort of one-off guy doing, like, or group of guys, I suppose, doing things like that. And so they've really allowed him to really take it to the next step.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of it is Scott and his team there and Tyler, they're all still very, very involved in our skate development and, you know, continuing to improve and find new ways to make our skate fit and perform better. And that's not just on the hockey side. Or figure skates, True speed skates, we had a number of, I wish I brought my list, I had my list up, but a bunch of Canadian Olympians and we're wearing our figure skates and our speed skates this year as well. But getting back to the hockey side, because that's what we talk about. To get a pair of custom skates, what we do is we use 3D scanning technology. So you go into a store like Just Hockey and have a wonderful staff member like yourself have set up, and we scan the foot, take some pictures, measure the foot in a couple different ways and then we use the scan creates a topographical map essentially of the foot. Our team in Winnipeg uses that map to create a last that matches that foot to the 10th of a millimeter. So we can see if you have a bone spur on your heel and it's 1.5 millimeters deep, we know exactly the location of where to punch out the skate for you there. And we can build the last to accommodate that. Every piece, we wrap every layer of carbon fiber. It's carbon fibers, thermoplastics. And then the beauty of our skate in that construction, when they're wrapping the carbon fiber around the last, it creates this, it's a one-piece boot. And say that it means the whole foot is encased.
Yes.
So like this, for example, is this is from our stock skate, but it's a pretty close replica of what our custom skates have, where you can see that the actual build of
to the toes,
right out through the toes. So what that allows us to do is, again, it creates even more energy transfer and even more, even a better fit because there's no toe cap seam, which and that was one thing that I struggled with. And I'm not going to do this to anybody here, but my pinky toe is twice the size it should be because the way my foot is.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, I'll do everybody a favor on that one. Where my foot, where my toes would land, I would always rub up against that toe cap seam on skate I wore. And if it was Bauer, CCM Graph, whatever it was.
Sure.
And that was the big thing when I went into Trues, was there's no seam. So my foot the skate just wrapped right around it. It felt incredibly, like the comfort of it was fantastic, but the fit and then the performance that comes with that comfort. And then obviously from there on, like, we slide on the toe cap, the side paneling, we dress it up nicely. Our tongues are attached by Velcro.
Mm-hmm.
There again, it's just another part of the skate that's customizable after the fact.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think, you see Velcro tongue, you think, okay, it's replaceable. You can pick whatever tongue you want. No, it's a fit tool, because if you have, if you need a little bit tighter fit in the front, then you just unvelcro it.
Yeah. You're able to adjust the volume basically on the fly. You can have it, back it off a little bit if you've got a little higher, and then you can get it down there nice if you need to just fill in that little bit of space. Guys got the flat foot on top. It really does. It makes things it's, like I said, easy to adjust on the fly while you're doing it, even in the retail skate when we're doing a fit.
Exactly. And that's why when we get into the retail skate, there was a lot that we incorporated from the custom side, but obviously there's a lot we can't do when we're talking, when we're building skates from the inside out and we're layering on carbon fiber. There's about 15 people that touch that skate.
Right.
3 different people are laying carbon fiber at different stages. So we can't do that on a mass scale. So this is, again, part of where the beauty of True Temper comes in, is once our engineers got their hands on it, they were able to create a last that, we looked at tens of thousands of scans that we've done and created a last that should fit about 80% of people. And then our engineers took it over the top and created this shell, which, again, this is built in our stick factory, which we own as a part of, obviously, on the golf side too. But what this allowed us to do is, being built in our stick factory, we can control the manufacturing of it a little bit better.
Sure.
Use some of that technology. So the thermoplastics embedded into the carbon fiber to give our stock skate a fantastic, like almost as much moldability as our custom. Not as much, but very close.
Right.
So having that ability, again, having that infused technology and some of the backshop and the resources that True Temper has really allowed us to create a stock skate that is still gaining a lot of traction, and we're building it up slowly. Obviously, we're still pretty young in the industry, and it's funny how many people I still come across and what's True? I'm like,
who are they?
Hockey fans, if you watch, it's easy, yeah. Right?
Sometimes.
Mitch Marner, yeah. And now our pro team has been amazing, and we've really expanded that team, our NHL team. So the exposure from a retail side and then from an NHL side, it's been exploding lately, which is fantastic.
Yeah. Well, maybe let's talk about the retail level skate then. So the TF9, it's been a skate that I've carried, that I've fit lots of people for. We have a good deal of success with it. If you were to, I mean, obviously you've sort of already backed into it a little bit on some of the differences, but essentially I guess what it looks like is they've taken as many of the scans as they've done. They've eliminated as many of the foot problems as they can. Did they just sort of like layer over all the scans and sort of draw the foot shape around to get it where it should be to fit most people?
To a degree, yeah. Seeing how the heel depth compares to the forefoot or the front of the foot, how wide it needs to be. But then it's also things like, I don't know how well, it's probably not going to show up great on the, see if I can get the camera angle with the glare, but something here. So a lot of people have an issue with this area right here. It's just above the arch. It's called the navicular bone.
Yeah, navicular. That's the one.
Yeah. And it's a huge problem that everybody seems, that a lot of people have is that bone, because it protrudes from the foot and it rubs a ton. So a lot of people get it punched out. But the beauty of our skate is, one, it's built into the shell, and two, we call it the tissue technique, where I prefer using an old insole, just cutting out a round piece of an insole, and you masking tape that to your foot. Because of the way that our skate's designed, it's going to naturally punch the skate out for you in those areas. They have taken in, they've seen where some of the common build-outs are. So like the navicular bone, heel spurs, that kind of stuff. And it's been built into the shell already. So you're already kind of getting that almost that custom fit without actually being custom.
Yeah, it works wonders. And again, the most of the difficulties that we find aren't actually with the customer's foot in the skate. It's before that, trying to get the customer's foot into the skate. So in particular with when you do the custom, but also a little bit, I often tell customers, it's trying to like move a couch into a dorm room. It's not a straight shot, and you've got to just kind of fade it in. And usually, and obviously once it's heated, it should drop right in pretty nicely once you go, but sometimes you will have to work that a little bit.
Yeah. And that is, again, that's part of what we've learned.
But there is a reason, like there's a reason why that skate has such a small open.
Exactly. And the idea is it wraps around your foot, and the wrap gives you more support, better energy transfer, better fit. There's ways of adjusting to that. If you heat it up, and you can flour out the eyelet cuff, and that'll make it easier for your foot to slide in. But the wrap around your foot isn't going to be as good as if you just left it kind of as it was. The beauty of that, the reason we do that, we call it a quad neutral position. Essentially, it puts you in a skating position without the skate forces you into a skating position.
So a bit more forward, knees over toes.
Exactly. So for a lot of people, that feels weird off the bat. When I first skated in it, it felt weird off the bat, but it took me about, I don't know, one men's league game to get adjusted to it. And since then, it's been amazing. As soon like that first game, my, I'm not old, but I need to stretch and stuff, but the body's sore the next day. My hips felt great. My quads I felt my stamina was way better. There are, and there's some people that want that benefit, but they don't like having to jam their foot into the skate. I should say angle their foot into the skate. So we've made adjustments, and, as you'll see in the summer in July, when we come out with our new Catalyst line of skates, we've taken that into consideration. And this is the next skate is going to be a little bit more, I don't want to say traditional, because nothing we do is very traditional. It's still going to give you a lot of that, the wrap and the benefits of the true skate, but it's going to be more towards easier to transition into. So sure. Now, like you have guys like Mitch Marner. He's a true custom guy. He loves our skate, and that's how he wears. He likes that wrap. If we put him, but then you have a guy like Thomas Shabbat, who, well, he's injured now, but he's wearing our new Catalyst skate, and guy plays 30 minutes a night, and he just wanted something a little bit more to give him a little bit more mobility. So softer boot. He didn't like our custom skate because he didn't like the wrap. He wanted to, have a little
just felt a little too locked in, maybe.
Exactly. So you start to see a lot of guys. That's where we've had a lot of success, is transitioning guys into this new mold. That's what they've been used to. So it's kind of, you can transition down towards if they want to go with that full wrap, or they want to go, halfway with that, the new design that we have. There's a lot of options for players now.
Sure. I mean, I guess we did sort of jump the gun a little bit on that one. But if we want to properly introduce it, the new line that is going to come out, getting away from the black blue, it's going to be a black gold boot. It's going to be called Catalyst. Catalyst Sticks have already launched. So this follows along in that line as well. And as you're saying, and maybe I'll let you kind of go over some of the points again, but a little less truey. It's a little more relaxed. It's a little more forgiving, if we want to call it that. And maybe if we want to just touch on a couple of those points again to really drive it home, like what would we say are some of the keys that are gonna that someone might notice the difference of if they're coming from a TF9 or they're coming from the custom and they are interested in the Cat 9s.
Well, and what we're going to do is we still have our TF9s, like that is still going to exist. And so it's going to be a stiffer boot. It's going to be a little bit more it's going to give you more pop in your skate, I would say. Because again, it's stiffer, it's going to wrap more. So you're going to have that a little bit more, I don't want to say connectivity to the skate, because the Catalyst still gives you that, but it just gives you a bit more of a stiffer, more powerful skate. Where the Catalyst is a little bit of it's actually the same way that you would change the flex or a kick point in a stick. So it's how we layered the carbon fiber. We were able to soften the boot up by about 15%. We've made the eyelets a little bit more traditional, so it's not going to wrap around your foot as much. It's the same tongue we have on our custom, but obviously it's decaled out nicely to match the Catalyst look. And then we also changed the tendon guard to give a little more of that range of motion. So when somebody's coming out of our current custom skate or a TF9 and going into the Catalyst, what they're going to find is the out of box comfort. So just putting it on your foot, it's a little bit more comfortable right out of the box.
Okay.
We've changed up some of the foams a little bit just to give it, again, we know that we might not be the number one choice for somebody in the store, but all we just need somebody to put it on. And once you're right, we know you're in our skate. And that's why we offer a 30-day fit guarantee, is because we just want you to try it. Because if you try it, you know you're going to like it, because the comfort in it and the performance, it's very hard to match. The shape of it is, I would say it's closer to a traditional skate than our current TFs have been, but it still has the beauty of, the one-piece shell, which again, because our skate already puts you in that skating position, having that hard base and that stiff boot really gives you that extra little bit of push, and you're not losing any energy when you're skating. All the energy transfer plus the fit and the comfort, it's going to be a fantastic option for some people that are just looking to try out a true skate, because we also have 3 price points now, which we
I know. I can't wait to start getting feet into them. I think it'll be good. I saw them at the hockey show. I saw them when you brought them to the store, and I think I was excited more or less right away, for all the reasons that you've just outlined. So I guess before we wrap up with skates, we should kind of touch a little bit on Goalie Skate. I think that was, in a bit of a way, I think that was one of the real sort of launch points in custom in particular, was how many goalies it seemingly, instantly went to that skate. And God bless Jörg Achenbach, for all the hard work he did there. Not that he needs another pat on the back, but we love Jörg. But really, there was a big transition, a fast transition into, we're looking at 2/3 of the goalies in the NHL, basically. I mean, we could look at exact numbers, but I think it's safe to say it's right around there, where you've got over 40 goalies in the show wearing this skate. And I'm not sure exactly what to steal a branding slogan, what the catalyst was for that, but it's continued on. A lot of the custom skates I do are for goalies, and you just see it. And I guess part of it's probably the positioning of the foot. You're in your stance, and you're in the goalie stance most of it, but it's continued on to be quite popular. So I don't know if you have a thought in particular on it.
Well, I think the beauty of it, like the goalie skate, I think it's 70 to 80% of the NHL is in our skate, which our goalie skate, which is incredible.
There you go.
You tie that into, I think it's 45 or 50% is wearing a pad blocker catcher. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
Jörg and the team has been able to do, and the way that Scott and the team in Winnipeg has developed that skate, where the first, so when we talk custom goalie, we have two options for goalies.
Yep.
We have our 2-piece and our 1-piece skate. The 2-piece skate is like what goalies are used to now. It's a canvas 1-piece. It's still the same shell. It's slightly different. Obviously, you have to make adjustments for goalies. You cut back on the tendon with the
goalies.
And God, I know, just difficult. I'm going to get roasted for that. No, and then the positioning, obviously, we still want to do that quad neutral position, because it's even more so important for goalies.
There you go.
Where players, at least you're extending your leg a little bit more frequently when you're skating. Where goalies, you're crouched most of the game, and you really need that extra bit of push. And that's what we found, where goalie, that's where kind of the 1-piece skate comes in. It's the same shell, but we build a carbon fiber holder. Like the holder is built into the skate. Obviously, it's all 1-piece, built in Winnipeg. There's 2 or 3 people that can actually do it, because it is very time consuming. There's a lot of extra work that needs to go into it. But that's a great skate for somebody that's used to maybe a cowling and they're used to sitting a little bit lower. I know with a lot of the goalies in the NHL, like obviously in the NHL, the trend is, unless you're 6'1", it's really hard to make it in that league.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those guys, their attack angle is built into their legs. So that's where you see a lot of guys maybe using the one-piece skate, obviously on top of the incredible energy transfer, there's nothing lost. But where they don't,
it is so solid. It's a complete extension of the skate, which the way it fits is a complete extension of your foot. So you're hammering right into the ice, basically.
Exactly. So where on a traditional skate, think of any time where two materials kind of meet, it's almost like a speed bump. So in a two-piece skate, as great as our skate is, and the shell is, and it's amazing,
mm-hmm.
there's no hiding it. The physics, right? Science. As soon as it hits that holder and where the rivets are, it's going to lose a little bit of energy. So with our one-piece skate, it's all connected. When we talk about, the difference between the two, the one-piece goalie skate gives goalies that opportunity where they can sit a little bit lower. When we talk about the two-piece, actually here, we call it so this is our TF9.
Yeah.
So this is our new shift attack holder. Similar trigger system to our player skate, but the beauty of this guy is we've designed this and the skate as well to give the player as much attack angle as physically possible. So
right. You notice right away it is quite tall.
Mm-hmm. And well, one thing that your average doesn't matter to most people, it's also symmetrical. So if you look down at most skates, there's a left right holder. This holder, there's no left and right to it, which is amazing. So if replacing it is a lot easier because stores don't have to carry, hey, like we only have a right holder. We have a size 8, we're good. So obviously that attack angle plus the way that we've redesigned the toe cap on these skates now gives us that. Let's try to get that camera angle better. Gives you that ability to get over and get as much attack angle.
So it's kind of got this rounded feature to it.
Exactly.
To stay out of the way.
And then another beautiful thing about the skate, and just a smart thing that the engineers did, you can use a 3 mil or a 4 mil steel in these skates. It's interchangeable. And that's the same on the custom.
There's so many great features on both. It's hard to choose. I have a feeling for me, once I get back out on the ice, I probably will go two-piece on a pair of those. I would think I would go a little bit less weight as opposed to even more push. I just think I prefer, maybe it's in my head, but I think I just prefer so far anyway, the two-piece. We'll see where it goes.
Well, and that's a good point that I didn't touch on is the one-piece skate, it is heavier. And that's one thing that people have always said, one of the feedbacks that we've always heard about our skate, it is heavier, and it is. But as soon as you put it on your foot and you start skating, it's
heavier, but it's light enough.
And I should say it's heavier. It was a lot heavier, but the team has been able to, using new materials and new processes, cut the weight significantly. The current TF custom skate is a lot lighter than what it was. And then using the new, obviously when we talk about our stock skate, using the shell cuts out a ton of weight too. So our skates are in par with anybody else from a weight standpoint. It's just, and then you just get that added benefit of the fit and the molding capabilities.
Yeah. So if we want to wrap up skates, we can move over to the other very exciting part of your brand, which is sticks. Obviously true temper, like I alluded to before, know a thing or two about making composite shafts. And they've taken that to the next level, I think, with their stick line. I know even for me, not having used the most recent sticks that have come out, I think my favorite stick, certainly in the last 5-6 years that I've used, was the A6.0. I still love that stick, and I still have one. And God help me if it breaks. I don't know what I'll do, but definitely so the new Catalyst line definitely are also quite good. I love the balance and I love the feel. Do you want to talk maybe a little bit about what's new on those and what we can expect on those Catalyst models?
Yeah, absolutely. You hit the nail right on the head. Is like we're starting to, you're going to see it a lot more now, and you can even see it in the naming, is we're incorporating the other business units that we have, or the other sports that we're involved in. True Temper side, we're involving that now into the hockey. So for those that don't know, there's True Temper baseball, there's True Temper lacrosse, obviously True Temper hockey, and True Temper golf, which is kind of the big dog. But with True Temper golf, like we have a Catalyst shaft, we have a Project X shaft, and I don't know when this is coming out, but I'll let everybody guess what the next stick is going to be called, because obviously there's another shaft that we have that isn't, that you'll see kind of come over to the hockey side that's already in baseball and lacrosse. But it's not just the naming, it's also the technology, because there is a lot of, obviously a golf shaft is designed to do one very specific thing, where a hockey stick has to do very similar, but you also have to keep in mind it has to be durable. The carbon fiber has to be layered differently to, keep up with this imperfect game full of perfect collisions that we all love, right? Like
sure,
you get a hack right in the worst possible spot. But what our engineers and we call it our C-Star facility in San Diego, where they do all the R&D and testing and development on the product. They've come up with some incredible ways of incorporating some of the technologies that have worked really well for us in the past, and incorporating that into the hockey side. So it started with the Project X stick that launched in 2020, which did very well for us. The retail pro, was the lightest stick at the time. Still, I think it's top 5, right?
Sure,
top 3. It was our first super low kick stick, but it was designed with some of that golf technology into it. Now with the Catalyst PX stick that just launched in February, you see a lot more of that golf influence.
Okay.
Where we're starting to use some technologies like ResFlow, which I can't get into because somebody's going to come with a black and kind of take me away.
Bag will go over your head.
But what it allows, the gist of it is it allows us to control how, and I know resin isn't sexy. It doesn't matter to most people, but it does make up 30% of the weight of a stick. And it has a huge contribution to the durability and performance of it. So what we're able to do is we can control how the resin now flows through the stick. So there's no voids. There's that resin loss, which is very,
so just better saturation and fewer imperfections, that kind of thing.
Exactly. It gets in every nook and cranny. So it allows us we know exactly how much that stick weighs before it goes into production. So we can adjust in the carbon fibers and resins exactly how we need them as they go into production. So we know we're going to have a very consistent, very light, very high performing stick every time. Part of that is, again, to go into it a little bit, is what we use a compression mold as opposed to a bladder mold when we build our sticks. It's a mandrel. It's the shape of the shaft that goes down, and then we wrap carbon fiber around it. It goes into this big machine that gets it really hot and puts a ton of pressure onto it. So it takes the shape of whatever we need. And as we do that, the blade gets put on at the same time. So every one of our sticks, no matter if you're paying $89.99 or $439, $450, whatever sticks are going to end up being, you're going to get a one-piece stick. It's a nice thing that we're able to, hang our hat on, is the ability that we can make a one-piece stick at any price.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, from a sales standpoint, I guess, and even from a, lack of sticks that get returned for warranty, I'd say at least, for sure it's working and people are liking them. I do have the benefit of being at a store in Toronto with, which is a team that has some pretty good true exposure. And
I know what you mean.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I said to someone once, I think what True should do is just stamp Marner on all of the sticks, no matter the curve, no matter what it is, just put Marner on all of them. Everyone will figure it out.
Well, it's funny with his product, like what he uses, like what we stamp his name on, because we do stamp his name on.
Sure.
But the curve that we put his name on is the actual curve that he uses, which again, I know not every, I know some companies are going away from putting player names on it, but with him, he uses a pretty stock pattern and flex.
So it's a TC2.
Yeah. And again, that's one thing that, a lot that takes some people, you know, a bit of adjusting to understand what our curves are. Is our curves are actually really easy to get. It's TC, MC, and HC. TC is toe curve, MC is mid curve, HC is heel curve.
Yeah.
And there's different variations in there. So it is very easy to understand if you know kind of the base of it. So,
yeah.
But yeah, like TC2, TC 2.5, it's the same curve, just one has a different lie. So it's all right there for you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It makes it simple. I know once I try to explain it to people, I know occasionally we still will get someone coming in. Do you got those Lidstrom curves?
The old Sakic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's the Lidstrom or the Drury, if we can make a nod to some old Easton patterns. But you have those old heel curves, either with the round toe or the square toe. So you have the HCR and you have the HCS. Mm-hmm. And, you know, kudos to True for being one of the companies that actually will still produce them, because it's usually a bit of an older guy who wants them, but we do get those guys still coming in, so we can still help them out with those. And yeah, like you're saying, it's very easy to sort of figure out. And of course, you've got the TC2 5, which just becomes a TC2 in a 5 lie. We've got the TC2T, which of course is the taller blade.
Mm-hmm. And then in this summer, we'll be introducing our TC6, which is a combination. So our TC4 is kind of that what most people are using that toe curve. What we've done now is that with our TC6, it's a combination of our TC2 and our TC4.
Okay.
So it's going to have kind of that old Sakic kind of blade, but a little bit more of a curve in the toe, which is very popular. It's one of those curves that's really starting to pick up steam.
Really good for those sort of drag and shoot moves where
exactly
we're almost ignoring I know teaching my son now, stick handling and shooting, and I'm the old start at the heel and go from all the way back here to carry it right through your whole body. I'm like, nobody shoots like this anymore. I'm just gonna let him figure it out for himself.
Exactly. Yeah, we're not those guys on Instagram. Mm-hmm. You're not an Instagram coach. It's okay.
Leave it
to them to figure it out.
I'll stick to showing guys how to lace goalie pockets. I'll leave all that other stuff up to the Coach Jeremys of the world. There's already enough of them out there. Exactly. Or lacing skates. Exactly. That's another one of my big ones. I do enjoy. I guess, as we get through it, I mean, like you're saying, there is another new stick coming out soon that maybe we'll talk about maybe next time I have you on. There's going to be some more things coming down the pike. What else do you want to tell us that you're a little bit excited about? Anything we haven't quite covered? Anything out there that you want the people to know? Give us a little more of a rundown on anything True related that you want to cover.
Oh, that's too much. No, we have, it's been obviously it's been a tough, for retail. It's been really hard to come up with new products, and one of the things that I really love that are, the guys upstairs, and hopefully they hear this so they can kind of, but one of the things that the company did that was brilliant, I think, was this year, rather that we really focused on the products that we know and we know we can do very well at and that we do well at. So things like sticks, skates, goalie, gloves, even. We really focused our energy. Obviously, there's limited resources that we've had to develop new products. So rather than coming out with a new, another protective line, that isn't going to move the needle for us. We know that a new stick, if we can take that extra little bit of time that would have gone into the protective, into a new elbow pad or shoulder pad, and make our stick even that much better, or even, 5-10 grams lighter, we're going to do it. So that allowed us the opportunity where they focused our resources on developing and improving on the products that, really that we're known for. So you're going to see some great stuff with, we said, with the Catalyst Skate, our stick that's coming out this July, which we're very excited about. A really big step forward for us. There's some really cool stuff that I know that they're working on and we have coming down the pipe. So
yeah, I would agree. So whether it's the engineering, whether it's the parent company up top, whether it's working with pros, whether it's outstanding retail sales reps like yourself. True seems to be right at the forefront of most things. We've got exciting stick that just came out. We've got more skates that are about to come out. We've got lots of things planned for the future. I can't wait to see what comes out next. Brad, I want to thank you a lot for joining me today. We'll do this again sometime when we have some more news to come out, and we'll see you in the store sometime soon, no doubt.
Absolutely. No, thanks for having me. I'm glad we were able to finally do this.
Yeah, exactly.
We're recording now?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So go ahead, air out all the dirty laundry.
Kind of tip of the hat that we're able to, we're able to, I put that wrong. Exactly.
And then now we've got the TC2 5L, which of course means.
You mean the TC2T?
Oh, yes.
This is terrible. Are we able to cut
Keep
that?
going. Keep going. Just keep going.
I
so
feel like
that wasn't so bad.